So I've not been overly super impressed with Don Toliver up until this point. I think his mixtape that I think came out, was it 2018? I believe, maybe it's 2019, whenever it came out. I didn't think it was too good. A couple of decent tracks on there, and that's what Don Toliver has kind of offered up until this point, the occasional decent track that's made me think, yeah, maybe he's got something. As well as that, he was by far and away the most impressive thing to me on that Jack Boys little collaboration project that came out. I actually really liked every track that he appeared on, which ended up making the project pretty decent overall for me personally. I actually quite enjoyed sitting through that, even though I think it's safe to say it's been forgotten about at this point. It definitely came and went, one of those little collaboration things that just comes, goes, doesn't stick with many people. And one of the better tracks on there, I thought, has appeared on Don Toliver's debut album here, which I think is a bit of a cop-out. I always find it a bit annoying when artists do this. It's like, well, did you need to put it on two projects? Probably not. But I guess sometimes it's about bulking up streaming numbers and stuff like that, or maybe to add more hype. You know, those kinds of little techniques that record labels like to use and artists like to use these days in the streaming world. And so you'd probably think that, you know, my response to him up until now has been pretty meh, but occasionally good. So maybe there's something on this album that actually stands out and makes me go, actually, yeah, he lived up to what I hoped he had to begin with. But it's quite the opposite. I'm not sure what went on here, but it is this is an absolute no-no. Maybe I should go back to his mixtape because I could have missed something, but this is awful. Like, I wasn't expecting this to be this bad, but like, yeah, I mean, I can't stand this shit. Don on this album is grating as fuck, and I know that he is obviously affiliated with Travis Scott, but I think he is trying too much to be like Travis on this album, actually. And not only that, but he is just slathering his voice all over the damn place with auto-tune and effects that just make everything about his singing disgusting. Like, this is just so disgusting to listen to. And I'm not gonna, you know, spend the entire video comparing him to Travis Scott, just like some people do with like Lil Baby and Gunna and Young Thug, 'cause that's just really annoying to me. But like, at least Travis can turn his voice into a bit of an instrument and make it enjoyable, because at least then he has a way of like turning his voice in this atmospheric tone, and you know, you can kind of get lost in how he uses it. But Don Toliver just has no control over anything, and he is just wailing, he's just yelping all over the fucking place. The hooks on here I think are lazy as hell in terms of his singing. I wouldn't even label this as trap, actually. A lot of people I see keep labeling this album as a trap release, but I think you're kind of getting that wrong. So there's nothing really trap about this. Maybe trap inspired beats, but you know, in terms of what he's actually singing about, because he's certainly not rapping across this thing, there isn't really anything affiliated with that trap genre. In terms of the hooks as well, which I just mentioned, sometimes they're barely even present. Like, there are two tracks right at the end here that he is just like, you know, going huh 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 huh, like he's just like riffing his voice and turning it into a hook, and it's just not a hook. The way his voice bounces like a puppy on No Photos with the similarly as effortless as that on the final track as well. And I know effortless is usually used as a compliment to be like, wow, you're putting no effort in and it just sounds amazing. But no, Don Toliver is just putting no effort in. Hardly anything to report lyrically. You know, Candy, what is that? It's just so ugh. And the voice he's choosing to sing as well with lyrics like this, it just makes everything so much more unbearable. Like, you know, I think this wouldn't be that bad throughout if maybe his voice sounded better. You know, the lyrics would still be bad, but at least then you can kind of excuse the lyrics, because sometimes you can in this sort of trend of, you know, like pop R&B, rap R&B fusions, pop rap. You know, you can sometimes excuse lyrics. I mean, Playboi Carti's hardly that impressive as a lyricist, but you can sort of ignore it sometimes because he knows how to use his voice in a way that works with the song. But Don, oh, he's way off that right now. Some of the beats beats too, man. Cardigan and After Party with the bong, like the bong, bong. That's just like constantly there. Nah, these aren't good beats. These aren't good beats. Struggling to find the appeal, honestly, when you hear beats like this. And the rest of the album doesn't exactly have any standout moments in terms of beats either. So when they're actually actively bad to listen to, it just makes me question who is this album for and who's actually even enjoying it. Then we get to tracks like Spaceship, man. Like, what is this? What the fuck is he on about with the spaceship? He's like referencing it to like his car or something. I was just like, come on, well, I don't care. Can't Feel My Legs is another one as well with just really like awful lyrics about like getting drunk and high and then not being able to feel your legs. Like, cool for you, I guess. Yeah, you can brag that one if you want. I'll sit this one out. So yeah, this is really poor. Didn't quite expect it to be this bad, and I'm not sure if other people out there will even think of it as being that bad. But this was just one of those albums to me where I was just like in awe of what I was listening to. Like so much of this just sounded really really unappealing, like to the ears. Like so many times I was like, oh. Like at the fucking voice he's putting on. I had to turn the volume down sometimes, man. Like I don't do that with albums. This is just not good. I'm going quite low actually. This is a 3 out of 10. Definitely up there in the top 3 worst I've heard this year in terms of albums. I think I was very negative about Five Finger Death Punch. That was definitely up there, one of the worst ones. And then of course Justin Bieber's album, which I found painfully dull and boring. But what those albums didn't really do was actively annoy me. You know, I was like just listening to them thinking, God, these are bad. But Don Toliver here is just like making my ears fucking hurt. Yeah, so a pretty negative review. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. Let me know what you think of this album, if you think it's better than what I thought, or you think it's as bad. I'd love to hear people's thoughts. I haven't seen many people talk about this, but I definitely had to review it just because of how much I detested it. So thank you for watching. Have a good day. Subscribe. Tell me what I should review next, and goodbye.